Today, we will be using our inner strength to work on strengthening the legs, hence standing sequence, as well as challenging our balance. To start, stand with your legs hip width apart. Just fold from the hips. We're going to spend quite a while doing this, folding from the hips. As a result, the knees will bend. Why is this so important? Because only when you fold from the hips do you then allow the knees to bend naturally without applying pressure on it. At the same time, you are also releasing tightness in the hip joints. So try it, fold from the hips, and make sure that you're not pushing your pelvis forward. One thing to remember is that both feet need to be parallel with each other. Make sure not one is turned out more than the other. Now have two hands by the side of your pelvis here. Fold a little bit deeper, a little bit, while keeping your spine upright. This is important because in fitness, you probably have your upper body lean forward, but here you are sitting down. Fold from the hips, have your spine as upright as possible. I say sitting down because you got to imagine that you are bringing your pelvis down towards the imaginary chair, but not quite all the way down, of course, because we need to keep the spine upright. So notice how when you do all that, the knees will just naturally bend without pressure. Keeping your feet aligned, parallel together, your weight stays at the center, and your inner thighs will gradually be awakened through these very gentle, repetitive movements. Keep the pace consistent, looking straight ahead. Have your legs wider, as wide as the mat. Now here you can turn out your legs a bit more. Have your toes pointing out diagonally. Continue to fold from the hips, looking straight ahead, and keeping your spine as straight as possible. So here, as you fold from the hips, your knees will of course bend, but no matter what, you don't need to go so low, and we don't want the knees to go beyond the toes. Feel your hip joints. Be conscious of your folding. If you start to feel discomfort in the knees, you can reduce the range of motion, fold from the hips a little bit less. But if you're okay, come down, fold a little bit deeper and hold. Hold for just 1 or 2 seconds longer, not too much, but just hold so that we start to work the inner thighs a little bit more. Looking straight ahead, not looking down. Where the gaze is also where the spine is. If we look down, the spine might drop. Have your stance even wider now. Keep your legs turned out, and as you fold from the hips this time, spread out your arms in line with the shoulders. Feel like your arms are stretching out in one straight horizontal line. Whole arm in line with the shoulders from side to side. Still keeping your spine upright. Bring your pelvis down a little bit lower if you can. Hold for a second. Really start to wake up the inner thigh. Simple movements like that can do a lot to strengthen our adductor muscles, which is very important to keep us at the center. Have your palms face up and fold from the hips. Bring the palms towards the center, like you're going to clap your hands, but not. Bring it up, looking up. This really challenges the adductor muscle to keep us at the center, balancing our weight while we send our energy upwards by looking up. Your spine is still as upright as you can be. Fold from the hips. Hold it there. Slowly bring your arms down. Gently straighten your legs. Again, fold from the hips here. Remember, knees not over your toes. Looking up. Straighten your arms through the fingers as much as you can and coming back. Turn your body to face one side here. I have my right leg in front in this case, so my left leg is the back leg. So see that when I bend my front leg, I'm folding from the hips as I did just now, while the back heel lifts. Your back heel must lift, and your spine continues to stay upright. There are two things happening here. Folding of the hip joints of the front leg and releasing the tight quads muscles of the back leg. At the same time, this is the third thing, you're also releasing the tight ankles and toes of the back leg. This is a very simple movement, but it's doing so much for our lower extremities. If you like, increase this challenge. Have your arms up, palms facing. And continue to pulse with the back leg coming up and down. The heels will follow the pulsing by going up and down a little bit. Bear in mind that the front leg is very important as the weight pushes down towards the ground. This will give the back leg the lightness to pulse. Release a little bit and sway your hips from side to side. I've done these movements many times in my other videos. It's a very good pelvic and hip release. Looking straight in front and just shift your pelvis. Releases the lateral side of the pelvis as well. Come back to facing one side, the first side, and continue with the movement. This time, spread out your arms and gently rotate to the side of the front leg. In this case, it's my right leg. Note that as I rotate right, my right arm is straight. My left arm bends a little to meet the chest as the upper body rotates. But the shoulder remains uncompromisingly aligned. This is a must. Your spine will not be able to stay upright if your shoulder either side shrugs. And pulse. Pulse, reach your back leg lower to the ground, curling your back toes more, lifting the back heel more. A lot of inner strength here. Come back up, change to the other side. For the pulsing to go down, you can go as slow as you like, okay? Same thing here. This time I'm rotating left because my left leg is in front. My right arm follows the rotation and bend the elbow a little bit. Shoulders remain uncompromisingly aligned with the arms. Back leg very strong because as you begin to pulse, you will need the hamstrings to be on very supportive mode to hold the back line as the back leg pulses and the back heel will correspondingly move up and down. Keeping your arms aligned with the shoulders still, no compromise there. And coming back up. Tell me how you feel about this movement. I love it. There's something very strengthening and calming about it. Turn back to the first side. Stand on your right leg. And then just move your left leg as if you're walking on one leg. So what you're doing here is hanging the left leg on the left hip joint. The standing leg here is working super hard to support the movement. Moving opposite leg, moving arms, and correspondingly moving the upper body. So when you do this imaginary one-legged walking, keep your knees soft. Let the leg that is moving really hang from the hip joints. Do it slowly. Keep your gaze focused, otherwise you might feel unstable. Keep your weight at the center. Inner thighs are really working hard here. In fact, we should really celebrate the strength of our inner thighs for holding us so well. Another thing to celebrate here is actually the front foot. The foot of the standing leg. It has to organize itself so well to keep up with the stability and support needed so that the body can continue moving. Now, challenge it a little bit more, moving super slow. When you want to challenge your own inner strength and balance, there is no better way than to move super slow. You need focus, you need endurance, you need inner strength, you need your core to keep you at the center. Most of all, you need a concentration of all your inner strength and energy. See if you can lift the back leg a little bit more, hold it there for a second and slowly bring it down. The left leg is my weaker side. So on my weaker side, I am moving even slower because I want to build more strength, but also I'm conscious of my foot organization. I need my left foot to be super organized. I need to be super aware of it so that it can support my upper body and arms that are moving and my right leg that is hanging off the hip joints. For me, this is a very sophisticated movement. If you feel challenged the same way, congratulations. Something inside you is really strengthening. Lifting the back leg a bit higher. and slowly bring it down. I'll release a little bit and just bring your leg up by kicking your ankle to the front. So what happened here is bend the leg and bring the whole leg front, pointed, and kicking it forward with your ankle. So the angle is front, not up. It comes up only because the entire ankle is lifting the leg up. And of course, your hip flexors are not flexed. It is flexed, but it's not getting compressed. So the movement is forward. Your entire ankle kicks forward. It's different from just lifting the leg. Lifting the leg doesn't need you to be conscious of moving frontal, but this one does. I hope I'm clear. Have your legs very wide now, wider than shoulder width apart. Let's stretch it all out. Side bend to one side, keeping both arms as straight as possible. As you side bend to the right, have the right hand grab the left so that you can side bend deeper by pulling the left torso. Likewise on the left side. Let's add one more detail here. As you side bend to the right, lift the left leg so that all your weight is on the right leg. Step down on the left. That will help you to side bend even more. Now side bend to the left, lift the right leg and step down on the right leg so that you side bend even deeper to the left. Try this. This is very dynamic side bending, which is often not practiced. And I attribute all this movement knowledge, understanding of mobility mechanics through my training in gyrokinesis and gyrotonic. Going deeper, pulling your entire side torso, even your lateral pelvis. But your weight remains at the center. That is the adductor. Alright, we've come to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed this routine. Let me know how you feel in the comment section below. If you like my content, do like, share, subscribe. It will help me a lot to grow my channel. Else, I will see you very soon in the next video. And take care. Have a lovely day.